a beginner, high protein, vegan meal plan that can help aid in fat loss and also would be great to pair with regular cardio and weight training. This meal plan is for 4 days and there's 3 main meals throughout the day. Every day my hunger levels are different, usually depending on how active I am that day. Every day is just different. So this meal plan can extend into a 5 or 6 day meal plan depending on your hunger levels and your daily calorie needs. So on days when I lower my portion size, I actually will often snack on fruit in between meals. And fruit is actually also a really great way to help curb sugar cravings if you are prone to sugar cravings. But you do what works for you. I also made a grocery list in this video right here, and all the ingredients that I showed in that video are gonna be used in this video today. So you can head over to that video after this one to go grab the grocery list. And based off of that grocery list, I'm gonna walk you through everything that you need to prep and what it looks like to put all of the recipes together in a day. Down below in the description is where you will get all of the recipe amounts based on a 4-day meal plan, but you can definitely adjust it. You can shrink the portion sizes if your calorie needs are not as high. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and let's jump in. All right, I like to pre-prep all of my ingredients the day before I start any type of meal plan. And if you are able to multitask like I'm about to show you, you can get this prep done in 30 minutes. We are gonna start with our sweet potatoes, chopping these up into cubes. And I'm going to steam them, and in the steamer I'm going to fill up the water just a little bit above the metal, the bottom of the metal. You can also boil these, completely submerge them in water, whatever you have available you can do. If you have 4 pots available, you're going to be able to get this prep done in under 30 minutes. So in one pot I have my steel cut oats, in another I have rice, and in another I have quinoa. And then of course we already just prepped our sweet potatoes. So I'm gonna put all of the proportions for what's in each container down below in the description for you, so you know how much water to the ingredient you're gonna be putting in each pot. And I'm also going to be adding a little bit of salt to each of the oats, rice, and quinoa. I've already added it into the other 2. And then I'm also going to add in roughly a tablespoon of this oil into the rice and into the quinoa. Now that those are set up, I'm just gonna turn the heat on high for all 4 of these. And for me, that took about 7 minutes to bring them to a boil. And now that they are all boiling, I'm gonna turn the oats, rice, and quinoa down to a simmer. And for the sweet potatoes, I'm gonna turn that down to medium heat. And then I'm going to put lids on the sweet potatoes, quinoa, and rice to trap in the heat for cooking, but leave the oats exposed. And in 7 minutes, the oats will be done. So I did stir this a little bit while it was cooking. You're supposed to stir occasionally, so that's what I did. But now that this is done, I'm going to set it aside. And in another 7 minutes, the quinoa was done for me. So you just wanna make sure to taste test all of these so that they're an edible texture. And if they're not, of course, leave them on the stove longer, add more water if necessary. But this quinoa is done, and it took a total of 14 minutes. And after an additional 6 minutes, this rice is done, which took a total of 20 minutes. And then same with these sweet potatoes. Those should be done after 20 minutes, but if not, just leave them on for a little bit longer. They shouldn't take more than 30 minutes to cook. You just want to make sure that you can stick a fork in them and they are tender, but not falling apart. So be careful not to overcook them so that they turn to mush. You want them to be more solid. And now that all of those are cooked, we can let them cool down for a little bit before popping them into the fridge. So I have some containers that I'm preparing and putting all of these ingredients in, and then I'll be sealing them with lids and popping them in the fridge. So while I have all of my ingredients on the stovetop cooking, I have the timer going, and I don't need to be doing anything over there. I'm gonna grind up the mulberries. I'm going to chop up the lettuce and also make the dressing. So during your downtime of when you're prepping all of the cooked ingredients, I'm going to blend up my dried mulberries into a fine powder so then it looks like brown sugar. Put this in a sealable container. And then I'm also going to chop my chives, romaine lettuce, and kale. So what you want to do to the kale is make sure to take off the stem. So you're just ripping the leaves off of the stem there, and you're going to throw away the stem because it's not very edible if you're not familiar with kale. To cut the kale, I'm just going to roll it kind of like a little burrito and chop it in 2 different directions. I'm going to do the same thing with romaine, chopping it nice and fine, and then also chopping up the chives nice and fine as well. Then I'm going to grab a container, line it with some paper towels to soak up extra moisture, and then pop in my lettuce. So this will help keep your lettuce nice and fresh. And also just make sure to seal it with something. I have this reusable silicone cover that I put on, and pop that in the fridge. And while the dressing has a lot of ingredients, it's really simple to put together. So I just have a small blender cup and I'm just adding all of the ingredients in there at once. And just as a reminder, all of the ingredient amounts will be down below in the description. So don't forget to check down there for how much of each ingredient to put in this recipe. We're going to be adding some water to water down the dressing. This will thicken up in the fridge, so we're going to be adding some more water later, but just get it to a consistency where it's smooth enough and you can pour it and then put it in a sealable container and pop this in the fridge. Okay. Good morning. Every single morning I start my day with warm water with lemon. It's a habit I built years ago. I started with just like a mug's worth just to build up the habit, and now I can drink 32 ounces of warm lemon water every single morning, and I love it. I love it in conjunction with drinking caffeine. It just makes me feel so much better than just drinking caffeine, so I highly recommend drinking water before you eat or drink anything else. And once I'm done with my water, then it's coffee time. I'm going to prep my pre-cooked oats, just reheating them in a pot, so I'm just adding a portion of the oats I cooked plus some water, turn the heat up to medium and let that warm up for about 2 to 3 minutes. And then I'm going to add in my ground up mulberries to give it that brown sugary flavor. Stir that all in and then just serve it up with some oat milk, top it with some hemp seeds. This would also be really good with some like fresh berries if you want to get fresh berries, or top it with some bananas. Just a basic bowl of oatmeal. And then for the smoothie, I've added in my frozen mango, a banana, a big chunk of ginger. I love spicy smoothies, so I use a lot of ginger. Added in some coconut water, regular water, and just blending that all up. So this took literally 5 minutes for me to make in the morning. That's a pretty quick breakfast. And as an option, you can add in some unflavored protein powder. I included this on the grocery list in the previous video. It's adding about an extra 10 grams of protein, but it's totally not essential. There's already so much protein in this meal plan. And for the salad, I'm just going to toss all my ingredients in a large bowl just to get it all incorporated, and that way I don't have random thick layers of something in my salad. I love it when it's all intermixed and tossed together. So this is how I like to do it. And if you're taking it to work or to school, I would just mix all of the dry ingredients together, put it in a reusable container, and then bring your dressing separately. So like I mentioned, the dressing is going to thicken up in the fridge. I added some extra water in there, and I'm just going to shake it up to get it a little bit thinner and then pour it onto my salad. And then toss everything together. And voila. This again took me about 5 minutes to put together, literally everything, to take it out of the fridge, to put everything away and packed up. 5 minutes. So breakfast and lunch took about 10 minutes total. For those who are not used to high fiber diets, especially if you eat a pretty meat heavy diet or a lot of processed foods, I highly recommend starting with smaller portions of the garbanzo beans because beans contain a lot more fiber than most plant foods. So it can cause the most disruption to your digestive system. It can cause bloating if you're not used to it. So I would definitely recommend starting out small, eating a smaller portion of the beans, and then increasing your bean consumption as time goes on. Your body will get used to it. It just will take a little bit of time. And then of course, if you are already used to eating beans, you will probably have no problem with the fiber content that is in this meal plan. For our teriyaki bowl, I'm gonna start with a pan, turn the heat on low, and add roughly a tablespoon of oil. Once it's heated up, you can move the oil all around the pan. I chopped up about 2 cloves of garlic and I'm tossing that in the oil for 2 to 3 minutes until they're fragrant, golden brown. I definitely overcooked them a little bit. So turn down your heat low enough so that they don't overcook, because I made that mistake. And then I just chopped up my tofu in cubes and adding that to the pan and tossing on just a tiny bit of salt, not too much. And now I'm gonna set a timer for 3 minutes because I'm gonna fry one side for 3 minutes, and then I will flip everything over and fry the other side for 3 minutes. And while the tofu is frying, I'm going to reheat my rice. So I just put some rice in a small pot, added some water, and just gonna put that on low heat. And once I get the tofu to a good toastiness, I'm going to add in my sweet potatoes. And basically all I'm going to do is every 3 minutes, I'm going to flip it. So I'm going to let it fry on one side for 3 minutes and then flip it. So just get it to a consistency that you like. I like mine pretty crispy. And now I'm going to grate in some fresh ginger. I probably did about a tablespoon. And then I'm going to top it off with a bunch of cocoa aminos. Add as much as you want. I mean, don't go crazy overboard because it is salty, but the cocoa aminos is so good. And then I'm going to add my tofu, sweet potatoes, and rice into a bowl, top it off with some chives, and then you can add in some more cocoa aminos, and that's dinner. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video was helpful. And don't forget to check out this video right here to get the grocery list for this meal plan. I will see you guys in the next one.